Welcome everybody to the Lunch Table Podcast, and in this video we're going to give you a review for episode 7 of Gen V, now streaming on Prime. We have a good amount of thoughts to say about it. There will be spoilers, so this is your warning. Without further ado, Dylan, my friend, why don't you start us off?
I really want this show to end. It's such a burden.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the episodes so far that we've covered, I think this probably had the most impact, I would say, because of the virus.
Sure.
Victoria Neuman also makes an appearance in this episode, so she kind of, in a way, like stole the dean's like spotlight as the villain in a way.
Yeah.
And they kind of like did away with her. Not too much to say about this. I mean, it still feels like it's small scale, and they're just kind of like throwing in characters from the main series to bring it back to the continuity and be like, hey, pay attention. But I feel like, okay, well, we found out about the woods, right? And I don't know, I think I would have preferred if Marie and Jordan went to Starlight instead of Victoria Neuman to expose the virus thing. But I did like how it ended too, with that the play out where she actually like gets the virus at the end, and I thought that was so appropriate when they played Heads Will Roll. I thought that was so funny. That fucking professor guy was like so stupid too. But what are your thoughts on this episode?
I mean, the only thing is I would like to see, I think Starlight makes the most sense, but I think they made sense here with Victoria Neuman because she did visit like the college, and I guess there was other reveal that Victoria Neuman has very similar powers to Marie Moreau. That threw me for a loop. I was like, oh shit. But I don't know, like Victoria Neuman's character, I'm conflicted because sometimes I like that character and sometimes I just don't. Like, I feel like whatever with that character. But as for the episode itself, yeah, there were some important reveals that I think, like, for example, Indira, she became like this kind of sympathetic character when you actually figure out, her backstory with her husband and child. And then you also figure, and then that's another way, like, her backstory kind of ties into certain events also from the boys. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know what it's interesting because then she got me really thinking, like questioning things. I'm not going to lie. And it's kind of a shame what happens at the end of the episode because, like, oh, I wonder how she would have been in the boys with Butcher and stuff. They would have been like a team, really. But the thing with the boys and the whole universe is there's so many opportunities, but there's always something that's really messed up, and the hidden gem really is like how these people are really intuitive and how they could maneuver around certain situations, or make a bad situation into a good one. And I think there's something inspiring about that sometimes the supes, they lack that because they could just use their superpowers, and usually it turns out that they end up being bad. So it's a really interesting dynamic for this episode. I think this episode was okay. It was whatever, really. There was cool reveals, but I don't think it really sold me on if Gen V is an actually great show. Still, I don't think so in general, unfortunately.
I feel like it can't stand on its own two legs at times. This whole plot kind of feels like it was like, to be honest with you, like pull out of like X-Men, like this whole us versus them mentality, which is kind of what the boys is about. But it's like you said, it's like Indira's character almost feels like a butcher or something, which actually is kind of interesting and nice to see, like the duality of like everybody's decision. Like this, like not all supes are bad and not all normal people are bad, but then there's like some people that take it too far, right? That she wants to massacre like everybody, like everybody that has like superpowers. So it is interesting to see like there's villains like outside of Vought, right? Or everybody has like their own motivations or their own, was it like lawful evil or neutral evil? There's different types of villains in the show, which I really enjoy. But yeah, so far I feel like with the Victoria Neuman thing, I mean, it makes sense for her because she is a supe, so I could see like why she wanted to keep the virus around. But I don't know if maybe she would weaponize it. I feel like she just has it to have it. Like, just don't do anything with it. Just keep it out of like somebody's hands. Because even if like Homelander had it, I feel like he would use it against like people that like go against him too. I was thinking too, like, what if like Butcher found out about the virus like at the end, and maybe he turns that, like maybe that's the weapon he's been looking for this whole time to fight Homelander. Yes. Since Soldier Boy is out of the equation.
I think you're spot on with that for sure. For sure, yeah.
Well, what would you rate this episode, and What do you think so far?
I don't know. Honestly, I'd give this episode. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. Right? It's really whatever. I am fairly disappointed with the show. I think the best episodes for this so far was like episode 1 and 2, and it just slowly declines. What would you rate it?
I'd probably give it 6 out of 10 as well. I don't know. There's moments I like, but for the most part, I feel like, yeah, like you said, it's pretty disappointing overall. But I get renewed for season 2, so I hope.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll change writers or something next season.
Oh boy.
Shit. Yeah. But guys, that's our review for episode 7, and then we'll be covering episode 8, of course. But yeah, check us out. Check out all our reviews, and let us know what you thought of this episode as well. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.